slope is the rate of change. It tells you how fast something is increasing or decreasing. So any problem that asks you to find the average rate of change is asking you to find the slope between 2 points. We are going to be finding the average rate of change, and I have 3 different scenarios where you'll see this: in a word problem, in a table, or in an equation, and I just want you to find the average rate of change. All 3 of these ways you are going to be using the slope formula. You just have to pick out your numbers. So let's do it. Example 1. The number of used jets for sale has increased from 1,022 in 1999 to 3,014 in 2009. Find the average rate of change. You need to come up with what 2 coordinate points you can plug in here. What's your x2, y2, what's your x1, y1, to substitute into your slope formula. And in word problems, time is often your x value. So my first coordinate point, I have 1,022 jets, that's what this is, and this is the year. So the coordinate point is technically 1999 and 1,022. Time is your x coordinate piece. 9 times out of 10, I can't think of an example where time is not the x piece. And it matters that you have the right x and y. In the second coordinate point, this is 3,014 jets, and 2009 is the year we're talking about, so the coordinate point would be 2009, 3,014. This is my x1, y1, and my x2, y2. Although technically this could be x2, y2, x1, y1. It doesn't really matter the order. You're going to get the same answer either way. Now that we've done the hard part, all we have to do is substitute into the slope formula to figure out what our average rate of change is. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Subtract across the top, subtract across the bottom, and now type that whole fraction into your calculator to figure out what the decimal answer is. I want you to use units here. In a word problem, you should always use units, and the units are going to be, what was this? We're talking about jets. And what was this? We're talking about years. So the average rate of change, the number of used jets for sale increases 199.2 jets each year. Similar idea if I give you a table, except this time it's a little bit easier for you to pick out your coordinate points. So here's the problem. Yolanda is driving a race car. The table below gives the distance in meters that she has driven at a few times in seconds after she starts. Find the average rate of change from 0 seconds to 5 seconds. So they give you a big table of information, but all you care about 0 and 5 seconds. This coordinate point and this coordinate point. Remember, I told you time is your x piece. So this would be x1, which means in this case distance would be my y piece. That should be y1. Time is your x piece, so the distance is your y piece. Sub that into the slope formula. Subtract across the top, subtract across the bottom, and now type this overall fraction into your calculator to figure out what the decimal is. This is a word problem. Even though they give you a table, it's still a word problem. There's words up here, sentences. It's not just a straight up equation. So I want you to give me the units here. So the units are, what was this? Meters. This was the distance that they had to travel. So that was meters. What was this? 5 and 0. Oh, those are seconds. So the average rate of change from 0 seconds to 5 seconds is 30.3 meters per second. Last example is not a word problem, so you don't have to worry about units, but you do have to do a little bit more work. This time I'm asking you to find the average rate of change, and I give you an equation and two x values. So good news, you already know straight up what your x values are, but you have to figure out what your y values are. That just means sub in a 7 into this equation. All right, so I subbed in 7, which was my x1, so this is going to be my y1. Now sub in a 9. Nine is going to be my x2 value, so negative 30 is going to be my y2. All right, now that I have my whole coordinate points, I can write it as a coordinate point if that would help you. Substitute that into your slope formula and simplify. Negative 30 minus negative 22. Minus negative makes this a positive. Subtract across the top, subtract across the bottom, then simplify your fraction. And I don't need units because this doesn't have units. It's not a word problem. It's just an equation.